Doctors are alarmed. Jackie Christie isn't merely unconscious. She's dangerously close to dying. And now, test results that hospital staff tried to keep secret have been shared. Let's go through what happened, step by step. The brain scans finally arrived. They are far worse than anyone expected. The images show swelling that cannot be undone, a blood clot near the brainstem, and small amounts of a powerful sedative in her bloodstream. This medication is the kind usually used to render someone unresponsive in an aggressive restraint or a controlled medical procedure. Not something you find after a typical accident. This doesn't look like an ordinary crash. It reads more like a deliberate attempt to silence someone. The first person given the full, uncensored medical report was Jackie's daughter, Chantal. One doctor, risking professional ruin, handed the folder to her and said quietly, "If you stay quiet, she will die and no one will remember why." Those words changed everything. Minutes later, with tear-swollen eyes and a voice that shook, Chantal went live on social media. She held the documents up for people to see and said plainly, "They drugged my mom. They lied to us. They're trying to hide the truth." The reaction was immediate. Fans gathered outside the hospital. Security officers doubled their presence. Inside, Jackie's husband, Doug, sat with lawyers and a locked briefcase. Jackie had told Doug never to open it unless she completely lost consciousness. In that case, the case contained names, contracts, recordings, and records that could expose wrongdoing across the reality TV world. This raised the obvious question: did Jackie suffer an accidental injury and then terrible timing? Or was she targeted because she had discovered something? Doctors are uneasy. The facts are out now. Jackie may not wake up to finish the fight she began. The moment the monitors fell out of rhythm, the ICU filled with panic. Her vital signs had been stable. Then suddenly the readout stopped for 3 long seconds. 3 seconds is a lot when life hangs in the balance. Her body twitched. Her breathing faltered. A nurse whispered, "She's slipping." Doug sprang from the hallway bench where he'd been dozing in a hoodie and tried to rush inside. But hospital security stopped him. "Let them do their work," they said. He couldn't sit still. Jackie's life was fragile. Everything they had been through with her was too close to simply wait through. Inside the room, medical staff moved quickly, gloved hands, shouted codes, oxygen, manual compressions. Slowly, a faint heartbeat returned. Not strong, not steady, but it was there. The doctor glanced up from the monitors with worry, not relief, because the scan they just reviewed showed something odd. 20 minutes later, the hospital held a closed-door meeting. Only 3 clinicians were allowed in: the head neurologist, a trauma expert, and Dr. Alana Brooks, the ethics consultant. Chantal was not invited, but she refused to be shut out. She opened the door, her eyes raw, fists clenched. "I'm her daughter," she said. "I don't care about your clearance. Tell me what's happening right now." The physicians exchanged looks. Then, in a flat, chilling tone, Dr. Brooks said, "You should sit down." Jackie's brain injury was not just the kind of damage you expect from a violent collision. Tests showed prolonged hypoxia. That means the brain had been deprived of oxygen for an extended time. Crucially, the pattern on the scans suggested the oxygen loss began before the crash. Chantal could not believe it. "Before the crash? That's impossible," she said. "She was filming in the car. She was talking, laughing, fully made up. Then the collision happened." The doctors did not change their accounts. They had repeated the scans and readouts 3 separate times. The results matched every time. Then Dr. Brooks placed a copy of the toxicology report on the table. Chantal leaned in and froze. The report named several drugs: midazolam, lorazepam, and small traces of ketamine. These are not drugs someone takes socially. They're strong sedatives used in medical settings to sedate or restrain a patient. The signature on the report was Dr. Alana Brooks's. Brooks looked directly at Chantal. "The version I turned into the board is a shortened summary," she said. "They asked me to redact parts of the file. I couldn't do that and keep sleeping at night." She pushed a sealed folder across the table. Inside were the complete lab results, the unedited scans, the recorded vital signs, and internal emails showing efforts to hide or change details. Chantal's hands trembled. She didn't know what to say at first. Brooks continued, "If this leak is traced back to me, I could lose my license. Maybe worse. But I swore to put patient safety first. I cannot be part of burying a life while she's still on this bed." Chantal whispered, "She's not going to die." She sounded certain, but it was the kind of reassurance held more to hope than to proof. Back in the ICU, Jackie lay motionless. Her usual sharp expressions had been replaced by a pale face and tubes. Doug had returned and sat outside the room, nursing a cold cup of coffee. When Chantal handed him the sealed folder, his face changed as he read the first pages. Then he went to the window and spoke in a low voice. "They drugged her. They stopped her brain with drugs. Then they staged the crash to cover it up," he said. Chantal sat beside him and listened. Doug remembered a conversation with Jackie the week before the crash. "If anything happens to me," she had said, "don't believe what you see on camera. Look for what's missing." Inside the locked briefcase were records Jackie had said she would only reveal if she had to leave the show forever. Files that could expose fraud, deception, and shady contracts. Doug had them. "If we open this, there's no going back," he said. "If she wakes up and we exposed everything first, that could hurt her in another way." Chantal looked at her mother. She knew Jackie would rather be remembered for the truth than for silence. Chantal stayed awake that night with the report spread out in front of her. She read every line, the chemicals, the time stamps, the notes. She spotted something suspicious. A nurse's login recorded in Jackie's chart minutes after the crash. That nurse was not scheduled to be on duty at that time. The name was likely fake. Someone had accessed Jackie's records as events unfolded. Maybe they were trying to change or erase evidence. Chantal took a photo and sent it to Doug. Then she felt the weight of watching eyes around them. At sunrise, Dr. Brooks sent a single text to Chantal. "Run." That one word made everything clear. The leak had been discovered by others, and danger was close. Hospital administrators would move quickly, sweep the room, lock the files, and probably demand silence with legal orders. But Chantal had copies, and she chose not to stay quiet. She pulled on a hoodie, grabbed her phone, and walked into the hospital courtyard. Her thumb hovered over the Go Live button like it weighed 1,000 pounds. On the screen, she saw her own reflection, puffy eyes, dry lips, jaw tight with grief. Behind her, the early Los Angeles light softened the skyline. Inside the building, her mother lay in the dark, a single alarm sounding her fragile condition. Chantal breathed, steadied herself, and started the live stream. Viewers flooded in. "What's happening?" people asked. "Is Jackie okay?" Chantal didn't look away. She spoke with a voice powered by grief and fury. "They lied," she said. "The hospital, the show producers, the network, everyone covered up what really happened to my mom." She held up the sealed folder as proof. "The doctors gave me these results secretly because they were afraid. They told me if I don't speak now, I might never get another chance." Within minutes, thousands watched. Within a quarter hour, the stream trended. Hashtags like #JusticeForJackie and #They Tried to Kill Her began to climb. Outside the hospital, the crowd that had gathered earlier shifted from quiet candles to loud anger. People chanted, held signs, and demanded answers. One woman climbed a bench and shouted through a megaphone, "Let us see the records." Security tried to hold the group back, but the scene became chaotic. Media vans screeched into the lot. Social pages reposted Chantal's video with slogans like "Breaking" and "Investigate now." Doug watched from inside on his phone, clutching the briefcase. He dialed a number and whispered, "It's starting." The person on the other end didn't ask who he was. They already knew. Back on the live feed, Chantal flipped to the page listing Jackie's name and the toxicology results. "Midazolam, lorazepam, ketamine," she read. "These drugs don't appear after a normal fender bender. They show up when someone is sedated and held down." The bruises on her ribs. That was restraint, not the seat belt? Someone typed, "Are you saying attempted murder?" Chantal answered, steady and direct, "Yes." That's what this looks like. Fans began tagging news outlets, influencers, and former castmates. Some people erased their online presence. Others deleted posts. One anonymous account suggested someone close to Jackie wasn't innocent. But Chantal kept going. She had documents, she said, no one had seen. Papers linking producers to shady deals, proof of missing evidence, and parts of scenes that had been removed from official records. She said these materials were not in police custody and had not been recovered at the crash site. The hospital lobby turned into a scene of chaos. Protesters chanted, "Release the truth." Patients were moved away from windows. Nurses broke down in tears. A reporter climbed the front desk and demanded a statement. Hospital executives scrambled to draft a response. This goes beyond one patient. Someone said, this could destroy the network. And then another leak dropped, widening the crisis. The coming hours would bring more questions than answers. But one thing was suddenly clear to many people who watched. Jackie Christie was not simply a victim of a traffic collision. Her condition, the drugs in her system, the altered records, and the sealed files in a locked briefcase all suggested a planned attempt to stop her. Whether it was because she had learned too much or because she threatened people with exposure, the truth was now out of the shadows. Chantal had made a choice. She risked exposing powerful people and defying a hospital that had tried to silence the full picture. She traded safety for the chance to save her mother's life and to stop anyone who tried to bury the facts. That night, the world watched and waited to see whether Jackie would wake up. The fight for answers had just begun. No one knows who first leaked it. Out of nowhere, blogs and social media accounts received an email. Attached was a voice recording from the night before. The audio was haunting. A nurse's voice could be heard. Soft but shaken. She's not going to make it. They're just buying time. Her daughter can't even come in unless a lawyer is present. Why? Because they know what really happened. Within hours, the clip spread everywhere. What had started as a quiet rumor turned into an explosion online. People weren't calling it a scandal anymore. They were calling it a war. Inside the hospital, Doug Christie sat in the hallway of the ICU. He hadn't slept in days. His skin looked pale, his jaw locked in tension. In his hands was a briefcase, heavy in ways that went beyond weight. His wife Jackie had warned him years ago. Never open this unless it's life or death. Now, with Jackie unconscious, hooked to machines, and the world screaming outside, Doug decided the time had come. He stood, carried the briefcase to the small hospital chapel, and sat in the front pew. The room was empty, lit only by flickering fake candles. Doug placed the briefcase beside him, whispered, "I'm sorry, baby, I tried," and opened it. Inside were files stacked in neat rows, USB drives, printed emails, signed contracts, and photographs. This wasn't just gossip, it was evidence. It was a graveyard of secrets Jackie had collected over the years, not because she was scared, but because she was strategic. She had planned to reveal them at the perfect time. But now that chance had been stolen. While Doug sat in silence, Jackie's daughter, Chantal, had just ended a live stream. She had spoken her truth to thousands watching in real time. She turned around to find two security guards waiting. "Miss Christie, you'll need to come with us. Am I under arrest?" she asked, voice sharp. "No, ma'am," one replied. "We're here to protect you." "Protect me from what?" They didn't answer. But as they escorted her through the hospital, she saw what was happening outside. Fans had gathered, holding signs with her mother's face. Some cried openly, others shouted in anger. One sign in bold letters read, "They took her voice. Now we speak for her." As they passed the barricades, a nurse slipped Chantal a folded note hidden inside a latex glove. Chantal opened it quickly. The words sent a chill through her. "They aren't after Jackie. They're after what she knows." She looked up toward the ICU windows. Behind that glass, her mother lay still, machines keeping her alive. Jackie's body was weak, but her truth was louder than ever. Doug knew he couldn't carry the weight alone. He walked into the hospital's legal office with a briefcase. Inside were Jackie's lawyer, two media advisors, and an old friend, an LAPD investigator. Doug had trusted for years. He set the briefcase on the table. The room grew silent as he unlocked it. Click, click. Then he lifted the lid. The first gasp came from the lawyer. Inside were contracts with fake signatures, bank statements showing money funneled through charities that didn't really exist, photos of secret meetings between producers and cast members, screenshots of texts used for blackmail, and at the very top, a handwritten letter from Jackie herself. The letter read, "If I ever go quiet, let this speak louder than I ever could." Doug pushed the documents toward the investigator. "She wanted this out," he said. "She can't speak now, but I can." The investigator didn't blink. "Once this is released, there's no going back. People will come after you." Doug leaned forward. "Steady. Let them. I'm not afraid." Meanwhile, outside, the hospital looked like a protest ground. The crowd had doubled, spilling into the street. Signs waved high, "Unplug the lies. Who drugged Jackie?" Police tried to control the chaos, but tensions were rising. When a man in AVH1 hoodie was spotted sneaking toward a side door, fans recognized him and a fight broke out inside. Hospital security spotted something worse on the cameras: a man in scrubs that didn't match the official colors. When approached, he ran. They never caught him. Minutes later, they discovered the hospital's central server had been breached. Files were deleted, surveillance tapes erased. Someone was trying to wipe everything clean. But this time, they were too late. Doug and Chantal had already sent copies of the briefcase files to trusted bloggers, to major news networks, and even a whistleblower site overseas. The vault was out, and before sunset, the first leak hit the internet. It was a video from a reunion episode in 2022 that never aired. Jackie, mid-argument with a castmate, shouted, "You want me to go there? I got paperwork. Boo. You and your man will lose that little check if I drop what I know." Producers had cut the cameras quickly, but Jackie's mic stayed on. Now the world was hearing it for the first time. Fans realized Jackie had been warning them for years. She had been preparing for this war, though she never thought she'd be fighting it from a hospital bed. Inside the ICU, things turned critical. Jackie's vitals dropped fast. Alarms went off. Nurses rushed in. Chantal was pulled from the room as Doug ran to Jackie's side. "Baby, please," he whispered, clutching her hand. "You have to fight." Her fingers twitched, then went limp. The room filled with shouts. "Code, code." Machines beeped frantically. Chantal screamed from the hallway, pounding the wall as the red light above the ICU door flashed. "No, no, no, not now." Then silence. And finally, a faint pulse. Jackie was alive, barely. Doug stepped out, tears streaming. "She's still here," he said, his voice breaking. "She's still fighting." Chantal collapsed into his arms. "She heard you. She knows you kept your promise." Doug nodded, but deep inside he knew Jackie wasn't only fighting to survive. She wanted justice. She wanted revenge. The next morning, the internet caught fire again. A full list of names from Jackie's vault had leaked. The documents connected several public figures to shady deals through a shell charity Jackie once partnered with. At the very top were a Basketball Wives executive, to current cast members, and, shockingly, a well-known VH1 SHOWRUNNER. The papers showed payoffs, rigged contracts, and manipulation of reunion episodes to frame some women while protecting others. Fans went wild. Hashtags trended worldwide. The network disabled comments. One of the accused cast members deleted their entire page within an hour. Another posted a cryptic message. "I told her to back off. Now look what happened." Instead of calming things, that post set the internet on fire. People weren't just speculating anymore. They were convinced Jackie had been silenced on purpose. Later, that day, LAPD finally broke their silence. They released a statement. Due to new evidence presented by family and legal representatives, the case of Jackie Christie's crash is being reclassified as a potential attempted homicide under active investigation. Seconds after the announcement, Doug's phone rang. The number was blocked. He answered. A distorted voice hissed through the line. "You were warned. Now you opened the vault. That was your last move." Then the call ended. Doug froze, the phone still in his hand. Chantal noticed his face. "Who was it?" she asked. "No one," he lied. "Just noise." But Doug knew the truth. The war had only begun. Hours later, a nurse found something hidden in Jackie's purse. Inside a book was a small USB drive. On it was a video Jackie had recorded before the crash. She appeared in full makeup, seated at her vanity. Calm, confident. "If you're watching this," she said, "something happened to me. I was never afraid of the truth. I just wanted to release it at the right time when it burned the right people." She laughed softly, then looked straight into the camera. "Doug, you know what to do. Chantal, baby, never stop swinging. And to the ones who tried to silence me." She smirked. "Your careers died before I do." The screen cut to black. Jackie's voice had returned, not through social media, not through staged interviews, but through evidence, legacy, and vengeance. The world now waits. Was Jackie Christie truly the victim of a random crash? Or was it a deliberate attempt to shut her down before she exposed the biggest scandal reality TV has ever seen? Did someone inside VH1 order the cover-up? Was a cast member involved? Or is this conspiracy bigger than anyone imagined? Theories are spreading, names are being dropped, connections are being drawn, and everyone knows one thing. If Jackie wakes up and speaks for herself, the entire franchise could collapse in real time.